When's the actual flight check?
What, today?
Yeah.
That would be beyond my pay grade, I think, to know what's going on next. So I'm just going where I'm pointed at this stage. But mate, it is in fact a really nice day for players. I know that's it's a moment in the midst of all the hard training and everything else that's going on, for them to have a chance to sit back and just take 1 minute to say, okay, this is really happening now. And as much as you think that players are sure that they're going or anything like that, once you talk to them all when they get the call, it's always really emotional for them, and they just get, I don't know, it's like something different starts, you know what I mean? It's a different level all of a sudden. So they should enjoy today, because tomorrow's going to be a little tougher.
How were they told?
Yes, former players. I think that was a great tradition. I won't say former players. Once you're a Wallaby, you're always a Wallaby. And we broadened the net this year. It was a great day for me. In fact, I was so... Tuesday morning, I was still smarting a lot from the weekend. And I got to talk to 20 or so Wallabies from past eras who all want to have a chat, obviously. And it was so good. They made me feel really good about what they think about the team. I think this team also, we've been working on it for a fair while, about reconnecting with Wallaby history more over the years. And I think this team is the one that's taking that, along with classic Wallabies. I think, I heard he left, but Justin done an amazing job there, and in reconnecting Wallaby players from the past with current Wallabies on a regular basis. And some of the jersey presentations we've had this year from former players, and just the general, having Tim Gavin as the president, a guy I competed with myself so much at that level, and it's starting, that effect is starting to happen. It's funny that it takes a bit of time, these things, to settle in, and I think that there's a really strong connection with all players from previous eras now. It's starting to come home, and it's very good for us to go into a big tournament like this.
Players in that position?
No, not necessarily. No. There was some interesting ones. Some guys we got to do a couple of players. Some guys we got to do just one. We staggered the timings too, so of course they all start ringing each other. So some guys think they haven't had a call, some guys think they have. Just the story to tell, story to tell later on. I know it's small things, but you want to remember the day, that you got told you were going to play your first test, and you want to remember the day that you got selected for the World Cup, for sure.
Well, conversely, how tough is it to tell those people who haven't made the trip? Did you make the call?
Yeah, I made it. No, I'm not giving that job out to someone else, unfortunately. That's tough going for them, and I would say that the attitude that those players came back to me with on the phone about what they could do to still be involved, and how they can still be involved, and how they can still contribute, and that's still, we know all about how Rugby World Cups go, and I think there's each team will probably lose 2 to 3 players throughout the tournament. They'll be replaced definitively. We did it. It happened to us in the last World Cup, and there's still a big part to play for many players that aren't selected in the 31, and that's probably the tougher job. But with that, I felt strong emotion from those players, and the way they took the news, both from their disappointment, but also from for them to have the wherewithal at that moment to then say, well, what do I need to do to still be a chance to get in there somewhere? That made me feel good and bad at the same time, because you feel guilty for leaving them out, but you're so excited and proud that your players will still give you everything, even when you deliver them news that will really affect them.
What were your Taya?
Sorry?
Jordan Taya's obviously a huge one.
Yeah.
How did he respond?
I don't know, I wasn't on the call. So I'm trying to think about who contacted him. I remember now. So I imagine he's stoked. I've spoken to him yesterday a little bit, and he's got a big smile on his face. We went out for some clandestine training yesterday morning because we know how shut up you chaps are on picking up the team beforehand. So we're all dressed in different wigs, masks, moustaches, running around the domain and up hills and around the place. And he was going hard, and I think he had a big smile on his face the whole time. Must be, I can never imagine how he'd be feeling because he hasn't played a game yet, but his time's going to come pretty soon. And maybe that's his destined moment is to play in the World Cup first up.
What got him over the line in terms of selection?
But I've watched him now for last season. For a young player coming into Super Rugby last season, I thought not in the very last season, we just played the one before. He excelled. He came on the tour as a development player, and then was literally an inch away from making his test debut in Italy until he got a slight hamstring strain in training on the Tuesday, and we didn't want to risk that for him going forward. And then he was close the week after in England. Again, the injury helped him out, and then he was very close to getting selected here in the New Zealand game, the second New Zealand game, and we just thought at that stage, I think we'd made the decision that we would be bringing him along on the tour here. So we made that choice, and I think he's just impressed me with his durability and his ability to learn fast. He's just getting straight into the team's way of play, and he's got a good connection with the lads, and he's fitted in really nicely. So I see so much potential there. It's about now getting some of that out over the next 2 months.